section and at the end of every at the very end, so the end of every section at the very end, I will review questions, but please feel free to ask questions throughout. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to do a brief role overview. Again, I know many of you have been through this before, so hopefully not to bore you with it. So first, just to cover the general roles and responsibilities, as chapter treasurer, your main responsibility is the accurate recording and reporting of all chapter financial activity. So this includes preparation and presentation of the annual chapter budget, of your convention budget, so your chapter creating that, coordination of chapter fundraisers. I know some of you may have a fundraising chairperson or someone else that assists with fundraising. So this is generally speaking, don't panic if you're like, well, I don't do that, someone else in my chapter, that's fine. You should still be overseeing that person. And then collection of local dues and other fees like fines, shirts, event ticket sales, things like that. And then you oversee the chapter bank account. So you're the main signer on the bank account. That's your main responsibility. And then you have a responsibility to remind members of both national and local dues deadlines. And then the main report or paperwork that you're responsible for besides the budget is submission of the annual financial report, which is due July 15th of every year. And then some basic financial expectations. So you should be creating an operating budget for your chapter for each semester. Preferably you create it for the year at once because it should be pretty predictable. Once you're in a fall, you're creating it for fall semester, it should be pretty predictable for spring. We can talk through that if you have questions about that. Two officers, such as the president and treasurer, those are usually the two officers who are on the chapter bank account. If you have a strong relationship with your faculty advisor and they're engaged in your chapter, you can also add them on the bank account. If you bank at a chapter that does university banking, often the advisor is required. Every member of your chapter should be on track to submit their national dues waivers national dues on time. We're working on some updates with GreekTrack so that you all can see on your end who has paid national dues and who hasn't. Unfortunately, it seems to be a little bit slow to get this feature added, so more to come. And then following the correct process for dues waivers, we are not going to talk about dues waivers here today because there has been like 2 presentations that cover dues waivers pretty in depth. They're recorded and they're available for you on OPA portal. So I don't want to bore you with that. The resource exists, you can use that. And then you have to complete a minimum of 1 high yield fundraiser during the semester to supplement your chapter operating budget, and then 1 fundraiser to supplement convention costs. And this looks different, like high yield looks different for every chapter. We have a fundraising, we're working on scheduling a fundraising specific workshop in February or March, I think in February. So that you all can kind of talk about fundraising and how successful it's been for your chapters and things like that. And then all chapter treasurers should join the treasurer Slack channel. If you're not in there and you need help, several people have alerted me that they're having trouble joining and I'm not totally sure why, but I'm happy to help you if you are not able to get into Slack. Any questions about just general role and responsibilities? Okay, we're going to jump into budgeting. So chapter budget requirements include that all chapter budgets must utilize the provided chapter budget template. I believe all of you are aware of this. I think that I reviewed every single chapter budget and I reached out to you if you weren't using the chapter budget and asked for it to be updated. So I think we're good there, but if you are having trouble using it or have questions, this is a good time to ask them so we can talk through it. You have to account for all anticipated revenue and expenses. So I know I met with several chapter treasurers at the beginning of this last semester of fall 2023. And there were some questions of like, well, how do I know what my revenue is going to be? And that's just part of budgeting, is that like it's an educated guess. So you would just anticipate what your revenue would be. So, it's like the number of members you have times the amount of your local dues plus how many members you expect to bring in for that semester times new member dues. That would be like your fall dues revenue. You can use like prior years to see like how much did we fundraise last year? Okay, we'll probably do these fundraisers again. And the same thing for expenses. Oh, sorry. You need to have a good idea of like what your expenses will be or estimate those so you can see, do we have enough? Are we going to bring in enough money for all these expenses that we're planning for? And then the budget needs to be balanced. So another term for this is like budget to zero. This is like a general rule of thumb to budget to zero. However, we do have some chapters that have very large, what I would call cash reserves. So like savings accounts, maybe you have $10,000 in your savings account. So we would call that cash reserve, and you can use that money. So you can dip into that money if you need to. You just need to plan for it, and it needs to be approved by your chapter. So you can have a negative budget for a semester or for 2 semesters. We just want to make sure that like you're not spending all of that on things like merchandise or formal, that it's like maybe it's like you're lowering your local dues, and so you're taking a little bit of a hit to your reserves because you've lowered your local dues so you can bring more members in. Maybe it's something like that, or you're spending more money on service or a sisterhood event. So we would want to be cautious about like what we're spending that reserve on, but something to think about. And then I already talked about this. The budget should be created for the fall and spring semester prior to the start of the semester. I got a lot of pushback from chapter treasurers on this in the fall, and I understand, but the point is like you should be able to estimate your revenue and expenses based on the number of members that you have. All right, so a lot of questions about the chapter budget template, and a couple of the chapter health specialists told me that they get a lot of questions about this. So I have several slides specific to the budget template. I'm also happy to like pull up a chapter's budget and share my screen and walk through what that looks like. You guys tell me in the chat or raise your hand if there's something that would be helpful for you. The reason that we're requiring this chapter budget template is because we are a umbrella organization. So we, Omega Phi Alpha National Service Authority, has a group exemption with the IRS, allowing all of you as individual chapters to file taxes in a consolidated format with the national organization. So what that means is that every tax exempt organization, we are 501c4, are required to file a Form 990, which is the annual tax return for a tax exempt organization. And we have to report financial data on there. So instead of requiring each of you to fill out a tax exempt organization tax return, we do it for you. But in order to do that, we have to gather specific information from you, which is what we ask for on the annual financial report. So if you're new in your position or this is your second semester, you've never done an annual financial report probably, so you may not know this, but the way the questions are asked is like, how much money, what was your total amount of local dues revenue for both semesters? How much money did you spend on friendship events? And it might ask you like several different things, but on the back end, it combines it into the category that we have to report. So I'm happy to walk through that. I'm pretty sure there's a presentation, an annual financial report presentation on OPA portal if you are interested in like learning a little bit more about how that works. And we'll do a workshop prior to the July 15th deadline so that we can help you. So You have to use the template to create a budget. That's step one. That's only step one. Step two is to enter all of your transactions on a monthly basis. And this might be the most important part, is entering your transactions, because what you'll use to complete the annual financial report is the budget versus actuals tab that pre-populates from the budget tab and the transaction tab. So entering every single transaction on a monthly basis, we can talk about what that looks like, and then reconciling it each month. I found last year when I was reviewing annual financial reports, many chapters did not reconcile it every month. So there would be errors, and I would literally have to go back to every single month and reconcile it. So it just, you're staying on top of it. If you reconcile it, you know, if there is a discrepancy, you can find the discrepancy in the moment and you can update it, and then it's accurate. So one thing that we updated is the colors of the categories matching. I have a screenshot showing that. So there were some questions of like, how do I find the chapter budget template? It's a template in Google Drive. So when you're logged in to your @omegaphialpha.org email address, you would click new, which is under here, and then hover over or click Google Sheets and then click from a template. And then it will pop up and look like this. And you select this one, chapter budget template. And then you should rename it. Otherwise, I get 25 of them that say chapter budget template. And I'm like, what chapter is this? So rename it based on your chapter and the year. This is just what I would recommend you call it. So the fiscal year of the sorority is July 1st to June 30th. So we're going to be reporting the data from fall 2023. So from July 1st to December 31st, and then spring 2024, January 1st through June 30th. And then this budget tab, so there's a whole tab on guidance. It's a lot of information. I definitely recommend that you all read through that. And then there is the budget tab, which allows you to enter fall and spring semester budgets. And the budget versus actuals will pull them together into the budget for the year. And then transactions is what I was just talking about. So you have to make sure that the color of these cells match. I've reviewed a few chapters budget templates over the past couple of weeks and have left comments in there. If they don't match, you have to update them so the colors match. What questions do you have about budgeting or the chapter budget template? No questions at all. Okay. So the one thing that I wanted to do completely different than past treasurer trainings is to talk a little bit about money management. We get a lot of questions about money management throughout the year. And I think it would be helpful just to review this. I invite you all to share best practices, how you manage these things as we go through it. So first of all, every chapter should have a chapter checking account. Unless your university requires otherwise, you should create this at like a nationally recognized bank that is easy to access, whether it has a branch closest to chapter to your university, or just like the most branches in your area. So whatever that is, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, PNC, it doesn't matter. And you want to open this bank account with your chapter EIN number. There's only one chapter that doesn't have an EIN, and they will have one tomorrow. So if you have no idea what your chapter EIN is, or if your bank account was set up that way, I'm happy to give you your chapter EIN. It should be accessible to you on OPA portal under your chapter files. We have posted it to every chapter, but if you can't find it, it's fine. It's really easy for me to get it to you. And then this EIN paperwork has your official chapter name on it for the most part. So if you're a new chapter, it will probably say like Omega Phi Alpha dash ODU or Marshall University if you're a new chapter, because we create it for you when you're a prospective chapter so that you can open a bank account. And at that point, you don't have a chapter name. So it's just under your university name. For the majority of the other ones, it is under your chapter name. So it would say Omega Phi Alpha dash Alpha chapter. This is really important because you have to use this name. This is what caused a lot of issues with WePay, is people weren't using like the actual name that was on the SS4, which is the form that you submit an application for an EIN. And then the bank account needs to be under a permanent chapter mailing address. So not an individual's home address, not the treasurer's address, not the president's address, not the treasurer from 5 years ago address. It should be under your chapter permanent mailing address. The majority of you have them based on my recent, like last week, looking through them. So I just make sure it's updated. It should be relatively easy to change your address with the bank. And then the treasurer and president should always be the minimum people on the bank account, and the only 2 people with debit cards. If you're adding anyone else to the bank account, it should be the vice president or the secretary. And as few, at least 2 people, but no more than like 4 people on a bank account. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about savings accounts. I'm hoping in the future to dive into this a little bit more, to help you all understand, like, what should I be doing with this savings account? Why should I open one? What does this look like? So all chapters that are in a healthy financial position should consider opening a savings account. There is just a massive financial risk to leaving like tens of thousands of dollars in a checking account, because checking accounts are much easier to access. Sometimes chapters don't have very good control of the debit card and they share the debit card. Like, we'll give it to the membership director so they can make purchases. And it just becomes like really hard to control. So we recommend that you have a savings account so that you can move extra money into the savings account. It's tied to your checking account. You should open it at the same institution where you bank, and already have a checking account. You could ask them about high yield savings accounts. Right now, some high yield savings accounts have a return of like 4%, which is really, really good. So you could be making interest off of the money that you have. When should you open a savings account? I know that some chapters don't have an abundance of excess funds, which is totally fine. We don't expect that you have a bunch of money. If you are sitting on a bunch of money, you probably should reevaluate what you're charging your members for dues, because there's really no reason for you to have like tens of thousands of dollars. So if you have doubled the amount of money needed to operate in a semester, you should open a savings account. So this goes back to your budget. So when you create a budget, if you see like your revenue is going to be $4,000, but your expenses are only $2,000, you have plenty of money to cover those, right? So you would want to plan to move some of that money into a savings account. Generally, we used to say, I think if you have more than like $2,000 or $3,000 in your checking, you should open a savings account and move the excess money into that. You may be in a position where like one semester you have a bigger event, like a formal or a large fundraiser or another type of event, like a 5K or something, and you have more expenses. So you might have to move some money from your savings to your checking at that point. And then if you have a plan to start saving money, so if your chapter, maybe you're sort of operating like on a zero basis, like you only have enough money, you're bringing in just enough money to operate for the year. Again, that's totally fine. We are a nonprofit organization. I don't think the goal here isn't to like make a ton of money off of our members, especially on the chapter. I mean, in general, but like on the chapter level, it really makes less sense to be making money off of your members, because you don't have staff, like you're not paying staff, you don't have other operational expenses. We as a national organization are covering all of those expenses for you. So you shouldn't really have an abundance of money. But if you do, or you want to build that safety net, like you want to have 1 year's worth of expenses, saved and you're working towards a savings plan, then you should go ahead and open a savings account and make a plan to move money into that regularly. All right, dues and fees collection. So all chapter dues and fees should be collected from members via OPA portal, Zelle, or check only. I know some of you had issues with WePay, so you were using cash. I'm happy to talk about cash practices on an individual basis, but I want us to be mindful that if you're using cash, you must have a cash box and you must count the cash every time you go to use the cash box. And at the end of it, and you need to say, like, we're going to have $200 in our cash box at all time. And you're always depositing the excess money. So you're never holding more than $200 or whatever that dollar amount is, but you're never holding more than that. And you have to have a receipt book and you have to write receipts for every single cash transaction, especially that your members are paying you cash for. So cash is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. And again, I'm happy to talk about like cash practices if you are a chapter that has to use cash for some reason. I'm aware that many chapters had a lot of issues with setting up their bank account on OPA portal and collecting dues and fees through WePay. So I know this last semester and semesters prior were an exception. Zelle is great if your bank offers it. That's a great way to collect dues. Just encourage your members to put like in the memo what they're paying you for, because I know I was helping some chapter treasurers at the end of last year, and it was just like 100 Zelle transactions, and we had no idea what they were for. So a memo is helpful. And as you all know, WePay is no longer, so we can all really celebrate that we never have to deal with WePay again, because I am thrilled about that. It has been a long couple of years dealing with WePay, and I know many of you have experienced this, or the treasurers before you have expressed their irritation and frustration with WePay, which is valid. It was terrible. So we lobbied OPA GreekTrack to change the payment processor, and they decided to go with Stripe, which was our preferred payment processor because it's much easier to get approved for. Like PayPal sometimes works, but sometimes they refuse addresses that have like additional information, like a room number, or just a lot of you have more complicated addresses, and PayPal doesn't always allow for like a box number to a physical address or a room number to a physical address. So anyway, we are moving to Stripe and it is great. So far, I think I've met with 4 of you and have set up Stripe with no issues at all. It seriously takes 15 minutes. It's amazing. So you can accept credit and debit card on Stripe or like ACH payment, basically an e-check. You can collect chapter dues, you can collect fees for merchandise, you can collect fines, you can create event registration pages, and you can accept donations all through OPA portal. And this is just really helpful because OPA portal keeps a transaction list. So when you're looking at your bank statement and you're like, oh, I don't know, what did Emily pay us for? You can log into OPA portal and just look at the transactions. You can see what they paid you for. So easier to keep track of. All right, purchasing. So your chapter likely has several officers that have officer budgets and who make purchases on behalf of the chapter. For example, a membership director is likely purchasing things for recruitment. Your sisterhood director might be, or sisterhood chair might be purchasing things for sisterhood events or retreats. So it's possible that there are plenty of people in your chapter who do have an individual budget that they are aware of and who need to make purchases for the sorority. If those members do not have debit cards, sorry, it should say debit card. If they don't have a debit card, you can consider a virtual expense management system. So all of these are different. I just put several here. Typically they do have a cost associated with them, but like Embers allows you to issue credit cards, like virtual credit cards, and you set limits on them. So like, let's say you are the membership director or you're the treasurer and your membership director has $300 to spend in the spring semester. You can issue them a credit card through Embers with a max limit of $300. And then they have to go in and upload their receipts so that you can see them, see like what they've spent it on. You can, I think you can also approve, they can submit like how much they want to purchase and you can approve it. I know that's how Embers works. I'm not super familiar with Tally, Expensify, or Melio. I just know that those are other options. Also, Bill.com is an option to control payments, like reimbursements. People can submit an expense that they want to get approved. You can approve it. They can submit a receipt to the expense, and then they can add their bank account information and you can pay them directly through Bill.com. So just in thinking of like, how do we control all these purchases? I know our chapter help team says like they have chapters who are like, this person spent this and no one approved it, but they brought us a receipt, so we have to pay them for it. So purchasing, this is just a different way that you can control it, where you sort of can control it on the front end if you do like the virtual credit cards. Otherwise, the people who have debit cards or the people making the purchases do not share a debit card tied to your name. So a little bit more about reimbursements. Every purchase made on behalf of your chapter must be approved prior to the purchase. Sometimes chapter officers think like, well, my budget was approved, so you've approved this purchase. But sometimes we have no real regard for our budget, or we're like, oh, I went over my budget, sorry. And like it doesn't really work like that. I mean, it is working like that, but you're the treasurer and you have responsibility to ensure that you're staying on budget. So it is normal and acceptable for you to approve purchases. And those approved purchases need to fit into the budget category of the purchaser. So again, like if you have a recruitment budget or like a new member budget, they have to fall within the allotted budget. And then you need receipts or invoices after the purchase. And you can issue the reimbursement after you have the receipt. So check Zelle, or if you use one of those programs like Bill.com or whatever, just any, I'm happy to like talk through what of those might be helpful for you. And it might not be right for all chapters because again, they do have a cost associated with them. So you should do as much as you can to control it. But if you ultimately think something like that will be easier, then that's totally fine. Do not reimburse someone without a receipt. I don't get reimbursed if I don't have a receipt. If I tell the sorority like, oh, I spent $100 at so-and-so, they don't reimburse me if I don't have a receipt that proves that. And if I don't say it's part of this budget because of this. So this is how the national organization operates as well. And with receipts, let's talk a little bit about document organization, because I know it could be a lot of receipts, right? You're going to have a lot of information that you have to collect and you have to organize in some way. So I recommend that you create some system of Google Drive organization. Perhaps you've already done this and this is not applicable to you, or the previous treasurer did this. Feel free to find what works best. What I would recommend is that you have a shared drive that's titled finances and all the officers in your chapter can see it. And then you have folders by academic year. So the academic year is also the fiscal year. So 2023 to 2024. And then within that, you have folders. And this is just some ideas that I have, like bank statements, receipts. You could even say have like a subfolder of receipts and then have other folders under that for like each budget category. It just depends on like how many receipts you're getting on a regular basis and what that looks like. And then a folder for budgeting and reporting. And so that's where you would put your chapter budget template, any other reports that you're putting together. Like if you're putting together a report for the membership director to say you have X dollars left as of this date, like you can create all of those within that budget. The purpose here is to just make sure we have continuity of from treasurer to treasurer of the system that we're using to store all of our documents. At the beginning of every month, you should download your bank statement, checking and savings if you have a savings, and upload it to the appropriate drive folder. Some banks only let you get bank statements that go back to a certain period of time, and you're responsible for all the bank statements prior to that. And by downloading the statement, you can see all of the purchases, all of your expenses, and you can quickly review that to see if you're missing any receipts that you need to hunt down. Okay, what questions do you guys have about bank accounts, dues and fees, purchases, reimbursements, organization?
I have a question. You touched on donations through the portal. So who can give us donations and how do we set it up so that people can give us donations?
Yeah, anyone can give you donations. And let me show you. Okay, I'm gonna share to a different screen. I'm gonna log in as Alpha Chapter so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so once you're in your chapter page, you can just go to the officer dashboard and then under finances where it says fundraising campaign, you can create a fundraising campaign here. The fund, it tells you the difference, but you like to create a fund, you would say like Alpha Chapter, just the fund would be Alpha Chapter probably. Fundraising for Alpha Chapter of Omega Phi Alpha. You want to make sure it's going to the right checkout page. I have no idea which one is right here. And then you can track it as income or keep donations separately. It explains that to you here. I would keep them recorded separately, but you can do whatever. So then you create the fund. So you have the fund and then you can create a campaign. So you press create a campaign, you call it whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know, if you want to do a fundraiser, like you're doing bingo squares or something on Instagram, but you like can't collect money via Venmo, you can create like a link where people can come right here and donate and you can see it in real time. So literally anyone can donate here. You can see allow anyone to donate across the internet. You can charge the processing fee. I would recommend that you charge it or ask the donor to pay the processing fee. You can, I wouldn't, if you're doing like a one-time fundraiser, I would say no to recurring donations. Just because otherwise it's like really hard to keep track of. And then you can, like donations is probably your general ledger. That's what it's called in your budget template. You can create an image in Canva. It tells you the size that you need to create. You can type all the things here, create the campaign. I'll show you what it looks like when it's created. So then the page looks like this. on anyone. You can also like if each members are like individually fundraising, you can put each member's name and they can pick like who they're donating toward. And you can track it. It's a form that you can see on your end. So yeah. Does that help?
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions about bank accounts, collecting monies on OPA portal?
Have one for the virtual credit cards. Do you know if they can use those like in stores, kind of like an Apple Pay situation, or if it's like only online?
I'm not super familiar because I've never used it directly. I just know other people who have. So I'm not sure if you can add it to your wallet. That's a great question because I know a lot of people probably are going in store. I think some of them actually like issue an actual credit card that can be used too. And you control it on the back end. So like you can turn the card on and off, you can cancel the card, like you literally control everything as like the admin. So definitely
Thank you.
worth checking out. Yeah. Other questions? All right. Well, that's everything I have for you guys. So I'll just open it up to like general questions, even if they're not like general treasurer or otherwise questions. I'm happy to answer them.
I have a question about the convention. So everywhere that I look, I try to find the convention 2024, but the only thing I can find on Greek Track is convention 2022. And then on the website link to it is there's just like an article, there's not like a link to it that I can find.
If you're asking about registration, it's not open yet. It opens in February. But if there's other information that you want to know, I'm happy to answer that.
Yeah, I know that there's like in the past, like the 2022 one, there's like a budgeting and like what date early registration. So I'm just trying to like plan the full budget of like the travel and everything. So I was just wondering about if like I could find a link to that.
Yeah, there is a budgeting template for convention. If you just go to new Google Sheets from a template and you click this convention 2024 chapter fundraising worksheet, we'll open a new one for you. You don't have to make a copy or anything. And this kind of tells you the estimated cost for convention. So basically, you put like, how many people are we going to send? Okay, what are the flight or other transportation costs per member? How many people are we going to have in each hotel room? 2 or 4. Those are the only options, 2 or 4. And then when you enter that, it will tell you the estimated convention cost total per member, and then how much money you need to raise or have.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It helped.
Yeah, yeah. So, and the details, like I'm happy to share. It's just not live yet. It goes live. I think it's gonna go live on February. I think I'm trying to get it live on February 1st, but it could be challenging. So you could see early bird registration. I actually think it's 180. I have to double check all of this, but it's close to this. So early bird registration will be around $175. I think it's actually 180 until March 15th. So you'll want to register, like you'll want to know your delegates and anyone else who's going to convention by March 15th, like no later than March 15th, so you can get the best registration price. And then after March 15th, it's going to be 200, I think it's $230. I think we had to change everything by $5, but And then there's a Saturday only. So if there's like some of your members live close or want to drive in for the weekend or whatever, alumni will use this a lot and just come Saturday. And then you can see basically the hotel rooms are about $200 a night. And so this price is per person because it's like per registrant. So, and then the t-shirt, I don't know the pricing of this yet. Typically we offer it as an add-on. And then if you want to bring a guest to the gala, like sometimes alumni bring their partner or whomever. Oh, there's an alumni whose daughter comes. So you can purchase guest gala tickets. It's just the cost of food. So that's all that's on here right now, but I will finish this. Yeah, I have it to go live on February 15th, but hopefully before then we'll see.
Where
Is
is
that-
the convention this year?
The convention is in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. In Greenville, there's the airport is GSP. It's Greenville Spartanburg. And the hotel is the Hyatt Regency. If you're driving, you literally will not need a car. If you're flying, you will not need a car. You probably will not need to take Uber or Lyft. You can literally walk everywhere from the hotel, like any restaurant you want to go to. I mean, literally anything. There's a Starbucks in the hotel. There's a restaurant in the hotel. So it should be like when the board and myself went for a weekend, we literally didn't get in a car except for to go to and from the airport. We just walked everywhere. So pretty awesome. It's a pretty the airport is somewhat smaller, so flights may be a little bit more expensive. If you guys don't know, you can put a Google flight alert on if you just go to flights.google.com and you choose the city you're flying from to GSP, and then you pick the dates. And then you can be like, when you log into your Google account, you can set an alert and it will email you. That's a good thing to do too. You can see in 2022, a bunch of people bought airfare at the very last minute, and you guys, it is so expensive. Do not wait until the very last minute. Chapter spent like $1,000 on plane tickets. Please don't do that.
Is it at all
I mean-
possible? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Is it at all possible to see or to have released to us maybe some kind of average costs for a convention for the past years outside of the estimate sheet, or have the estimate sheet released earlier? Because I remember seeing an email last semester that aside from the 2 required delegates, Nationals wanted us to send 4 people, and it's extremely, extremely, extremely difficult to plan to spend $4,000 without knowing that we're going to spend $4,000 as a
Yeah,
fundraiser.
that template, Alex, is available now. So like the template, and those have the right prices in there. That's literally accurate lodging prices. You're responsible for saying like, are people going to drive? And if so, like, what is the gas cost? Or if people are going to take the train or Greyhound. Amtrak and Greyhound both stop like in downtown across the street from the hotel, essentially. Food costs are no different than like they would be for you where you live. Breakfast is not included. I think all this information has been shared somewhere. I guess I would ask like, what's the easiest way for us to share this? Because we have shared estimated costs. We put together that spreadsheet where you can type in how many people you want to send. What's something
Right,
else
but-
that would be helpful?
This is just the first time I hear about this sheet personally. And it's just it would be very useful, but just a little bit earlier in the year. That's basically, it's a very useful tool. It would just be very nice if we could have that as early as humanely possible in convention years.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Since it's raised every semester, but then we don't really know how much to raise Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like,
No, that's super helpful feedback. Thank you for that. Yeah, we've had it created, but we didn't know the cost. So it went out in an email a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago. But it has been shared to all chapter treasurers. So I'm sorry if you did not receive it. And maybe there's something else we can do or just like remind. It was definitely in What's New in HQ like in November of 2023, I think. But yeah, a part of the delay is I hear what you're saying. It is a lot of money and it would be helpful to know, but we don't know the final cost of convention until about, yeah, the November, really December before. So we'll do our best to in the future continue like estimating and providing that information to you as soon as possible. What other questions?
Hello. My question. So I'm like the new treasurer for this semester. So for like the chapter budget, do I use the same one from last semester or make a whole new one? Like, do I just continue off of it or make
Yeah,
a new one?
the same one.
Okay, awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it should under the budget, it should say fall and spring. So you would just do the spring one.
Okay, and then for the budget versus actuals, like page or whatever,
Mhm.
it only shows like one section for all that. So do I like copy paste another one for
No, it
it?
automatically adds fall and spring together because it's like the annual
Okay.
budget versus actual.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
because that's what you need for the annual financial report. So that's why it's done that way.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if if this was already said and I just kind of missed the information, but I'm also like the new treasurer, so are all of those templates just are we able to locate them in Google Sheets, so like templates for the reports and the budgets and everything?
The budget template, yeah, is in it's just a Google Sheets template. So when you're logged into your Omega Phi Alpha email address, you should be able to click new and then from Google Sheet from a template and you'll be able to pick the template. And the convention one is there too. So the chapter budget, the convention one, there's a few others, but yeah, it's already there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I see a question. Are the monthly reconciliations submitted with the monthly chapter report, or is it due at the end of the year with the annual report? Please, for the love of all that's good in this world, please do it monthly. Because when you wait until the end of the year, every single month could be off. So like you don't know if you have a discrepancy. So basically you have all your transactions that you're typing into the transactions tab. I feel like accounting is a complicated thing to explain if you're not a math person or accounting person. So I'm going to try to explain it in the most plain terms, but please tell me if you're like, Alyssa, this makes absolutely zero sense. So the reconciliations is essentially you're entering like the beginning balance. So on your bank statements that you download every month will have all of your transactions. They'll have a beginning balance, an end balance. So that's what you're doing on the reconciliations tab. So you're putting the beginning balance. It's pulling all the data from your transactions that you've entered as expenses or revenue, and it's calculating that on the reconciliation tab. And then it's calculating what your ending balance should be. So if your ending balance in the reconciliation tab doesn't match the ending balance of your bank statement, you've missed a transaction. So please find it in the month. Because if you don't, then when your annual report comes, You have to go back through it and it takes forever. So yeah, try to keep track of it monthly. What other questions?
Hello, it's me again. So I'm looking back at what's new in HQ, and I cannot for the life of me see where it was shared. I'm just worried that I'm maybe not on some email chain that's pertinent to this because I'm just
Yeah.
not. I can't see it anywhere. I'm looking at December, November, and October, and I don't see a link for convention stuff.
I will look through. I'll make sure you're on that list, that you're not unsubscribed. I'll pull it for you. Let you know after this. It will take me a minute.
Okay,
Those
thank you.
emails go out through Constant Contact and not OPA portal. So I'll look and make sure you're on there.
I also checked like the Google Drive because you said like the template was shared through there and I don't have access to it. Like I can't find it anywhere. Like I typed in and I was looking about everything that was shared with me and I can't find it.
Okay, so it's not shared with you. You just go to new Google Sheets from a template. And it's right here. You have to be logged in to your @omegaphialpha.org email. Can you try that and let me know?
Yes, I'll try it right now.
What
I found
other
it. I found it. Thank you.
Okay, yay. Sounds good. Yeah, a lot of templates are there. So like, even if you go to Google Slides, you'll find the sorority template and the convention template. If you go to documents from a template, there's a ton. There's like the letterhead, a general document. There's a bunch of stuff. So we upload a bunch of templates in there. What other questions do you have about being a treasurer?
Did you say those templates were in Google Slides?
Yeah, all the templates are in Google. So just like I showed Emily, when you go to new and Google, you're logged into your drive and you go to new, you can hover over whatever it is that you want to see. Slides, sheets, whatever. And then click from a template and you can view all the different templates.
Okay.
What other questions? What do you all need to know about OPA portal? Do we need help with that? Besides Stripe setup? Okay, well, the general portion of this is over. We were just going for the first hour is just the required training. And the next hour is for questions that you may have that you can ask anyone, not just me. If you do have a few minutes and you're signed up for a meeting or you haven't been able to find a slot for a meeting about Stripe, I'm happy to like go through Stripe right now and all of you can do it at the same time, if that would be helpful.
I personally, seeing as to how we already have it set up, I only had one question about it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Do I need to click anything to make it live on OPA portal?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you're logged in, let me see if I can show you.
Because I wanted to test it out, but the term in portal hasn't ended yet, so I couldn't like pay my own dues or anything.
Yeah, so once you have it set up, well, okay, you already have your Stripe account created. So you need to log in and go to the officer dashboard, scroll down to finances, and then configure online payment processors, and it will come up to this screen. And you'll just need to like toggle Stripe on, and it will prompt you to log into Stripe. And then you'll need to come back here and edit the page to make sure it's connected to Stripe. It's pretty self-explanatory once you get there. So like just get to manage online payment processors and you'll figure it out, Alex.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are going to go through all of it now, do you want me to stay?
No, you don't have to stay if you feel confident. Yeah, you don't have to stay. But if you don't have Stripe set up, please do stay. Emily, I see yours. If you could go through it all, that would be super helpful. Okay, so can one person volunteer to share their screen? Because I can't set it up for you. So I need one person to share their screen and then everyone can watch and they can do it at the same time. Well, I have to have a volunteer in order to go through it. Someone volunteer to share their screen.
I can share my screen.
Perfect. I'm going to put some information in the chat for everyone else. So for all of you, log into OPA portal and go to the officer dashboard, finances.
How do we get to the officer dashboard?
I can show you when someone shares their screen.
Sorry, I'm very bad at sharing my screen, but I'm looking for it. I think I found it.
Okay, so this is how you get to the officer dashboard. At the top, if you just click manage officer dashboard. Okay, this is the officer dashboard. So now Emily is going to scroll down to right here where it says accept online payments. And we're going to click manage your payment processor settings. Okay. And then we're going to toggle that. Yeah. Just click it.
I am. It's not really letting me click it.
It's working. It's working.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So now you're going to type your email and it's going to be your treasurer email. So you're at omegaphi.org email. And everyone can do this. Everyone can open their OPA portal, go to their officer dashboard. We can all do this together. I can give you all the information that you need to do it as we go.
So do you want us to do this even if we don't have an account already? Or should we make
Yeah,
one?
this is all for people who don't have an account. This is like everyone who doesn't have an account. It really has strict password requirements, which I see you're discovering. Okay, use this phone number. Don't use your phone number. Use 530-567-7442. This is the national organization phone number. And I'm going to tell you the code. And I'm going to add you to the Slack channel that sends the Stripe code so that you all will be able to get your code. Okay, the code is, well, two codes just came through. So one of them is 404831. Try that if that's not it. Okay, download that code. And if somebody else sent a code, it's 836888. No worries. I'll check your code for you, Brooklyn. Just let me know when you. Okay. Now you're going to choose. Oh, yeah.
Before you had said not to use our phone number, I already went ahead and did my phone number. So
Okay, that's okay. We can change it. We can change it on the back end, but the purpose of using the national phone number is because when you transition to a different treasurer, it's going to send them a phone number, but it's going to be their phone number and not you, which is, we're trying to avoid that. Okay, so I got a number for someone, 067490.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm a little behind. I'm just on the officer dashboard. What do I click
Oh,
to
yeah.
go to the next thing? Sorry, my computer was dead.
No, that's okay. You scroll down to finances and then you click manage online payment processors and then toggle on to Stripe or click to toggle on to Stripe. And then you'll start creating a Stripe account.
Okay, thank you so much. And then
Yeah.
we just use our treasurer email.
Yep. Make sure you use your treasurer email and the phone number I put in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, there's another Stripe verification code 460469. And then there's another one 200753. And then 770324. Abby. Your hand is raised.
So if like our whole chapter uses Zelle and uses it well as the form of payment, we're still required to set up Stripe.
You can't accept any payments on OPA portal or donations without setting up Stripe.
Okay, so we have to set it up.
I mean, I would. You don't have to use it for dues. If Zelle, it works for you, that's totally fine with me. But you can't collect any payments without it. So I would set it up.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, is everyone in with their Stripe verification code so far? If I get more, I'll put them in the chat. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna choose United States nonprofit organization and then click continue. Okay. You guys who are getting too many, just go ahead and enter your phone numbers. We'll change it. Just go ahead and enter your personal phone number and we can circle back. Okay. So Emily, you're Alpha Omicron chapter. Great. Let me get your, so you would type Omega Phi Alpha. And then let me see what your paperwork says before you choose the next step. Yours says Alpha Omicron. So majority of them will say this. So put a space and then dash space Alpha Omicron. Okay. And then your employer identification number. I can answer this question for every single person if you're on the spot. Okay, so your employer identification number is 813285218. And then you'll skip the doing business as, and you'll go to your registered address. And you'll want to put your permanent mailing address. I don't have a permanent mailing address for you. So like for your chapter, so whatever it is. Do you have an on-campus mailing address?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, perfect. Okay, who else needs their EIN? Put it in the chat and I'll reply. Bye.
Oh, sorry. I had a question about the business name. So I'm from the Marshall University Alpha Chi chapter. So do I put Marshall University or do I put Alpha Chi? Because I don't know which one our IEN is under at the moment.
It's under Marshall. So yours says Omega Phi Alpha dash Marshall University.
Okay, so that's what I should use for Stripe then?
Yep.
Okay.
And then for the business phone number, you should use the 530-567-7442. Okay, we're gonna pause right here and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get everyone caught up. Okay. Hazel, what chapter are you? I can't read your thing. Okay. Epsilon. Yours is 31310891252. And just put Omega Phi Alpha dash Epsilon. Omicron. Okay. Omicron is 883651697, and it's Omega Phi Alpha dash Omicron chapter. Okay. Phi, did I give you yours? For Phi chapter, it's 813325556. For Alpha Z, it is 873295434. For Alpha Kappa, it is 9905095531. Alpha Delta, I don't have a permanent address for you either. Your EIN is 845018677. New chapter's EIN is 990461190. And Alpha chapter is 815 6519372. Alpha Mu is 8229511048. Hazel, your Omicron. 8836511697. Okay. And then once you get that, oh, Selena, I see you raise your hand.
So, since we don't have the permanent address at the moment, do I not put anything there, or what should I put?
You have to put an address, or you could wait. But I would put an address. I would just put the address of like the university, like the main university address. You'll have to Google it. I don't know it,
Okay.
but Alpha, I put your address that I have. Okay, then click the drop down industry. Thank you, Emily, for being patient. And scroll down past digital products, and you'll want to choose membership organizations. And then civic, fraternal, or social associations. Yep. And then for the website, just use Omega Phi Alpha's website. So it's just www.omegaphialpha.org. And then in the description, you will just put membership dues. And then click continue. Probably would have been easier, but I just dropped a link in the chat that has all the chapter EIN and mailing addresses that I have. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to stop sharing your screen because you're going to put personal information. So stop sharing your screen and enter all of the information that it's requesting. For industry, you scroll down to where it says membership org associations, I think is what it says. So then on the page that Emily is currently on, it's going to ask for your information. So your first name, your last name, your address, your phone number, your email, the last four of your social, your birth date. So that is verifying that you are a controller on the account.
Oh, this may be a silly question, but what should we put where it says job title?
Oh, treasurer. Thanks. I forgot that that was there. Yeah, just put treasurer. Okay, once you're past that page, Emily, if you don't mind sharing your screen again.
Sorry, are we using our Omega Phi Alpha email here?
Yeah, you can. I guess anyone actually can share their screen if you're past that personal information, and then we can go through the rest.
I'm sorry. Are we using our number or that number again?
You put your number.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now you can add your bank. So you can search for your bank. Do you guys bank with Wells Fargo? Okay, cool. So if you bank with a smaller bank or you have a campus bank, you will have to enter like manual details, or we might have to contact Stripe directly. So, but if you bank with someone like a national bank, then you can do this. You have to have your login information. So if you don't know the username and password, but you have the routing. If you don't know the username and password, you need the routing number and account number. It looks like it's connecting. Or not. I don't know why it's so taking so long to connect. Perfect. So you were able to connect your accounts, and then you want to choose the one that you're gonna do payouts to, probably your checking account. Yeah. And this page is just like what it's gonna show up on people's statements. So you can just leave it what it is and scroll down. Yeah. Okay, and I would scroll down and say no, thank you. All right, and then just click review all the information, make sure it's correct, and then click agree and submit. Okay, now it's going to take you back to GreekTrack and it's going to ask you like what you want this general ledger account. This doesn't really matter to you guys, so just click skip or save it as what it is. It doesn't matter. You don't really need that. Okay. Sure. Processing fees, that's fine. Oh, just skip that. I think we must have the processing fees. Okay, so let's see. Is it going to take you back to? Okay, maybe you should go to manage officer dashboard. Let's skip this and go back to the officer dashboard, scroll down and click manage payment processor settings again. Okay, and now click edit page down here where it says checkout page, edit. And then scroll down and switch it to Stripe. So right here, you'll want to check these boxes and uncheck those. Yep, exactly. Okay, and then you'll want to make sure you check dues and fees. So like this box needs to be checked. Okay, and then click update checkout page. Okay, let's scroll down and see if you have any other checkout pages. Yeah, so I would click edit that page that you have this like additional one. Yeah, click edit. And then scroll down and delete the page. Okay, so you're all set up. And if you want to set up collecting dues, you'll go back to the dashboard, back to the officer dashboard. And then scroll down to finances again, and then you'll want to click configure dues. And then scroll up, just make sure that you have, the same amount of dues need to be for active and active member unpaid. So active and active member unpaid needs to match. Okay. And then you can put the due date of your local dues if you have it already. I got a Stripe code for someone, 447345. If someone is at that point. Oh, Cassandra, you could just put the 530-567-7442. Emily, do you guys have a due date for your local dues? Yeah, so if you just
Sorry,
enter
I just
that.
had it on my calendar, so I was just checking my calendar.
Oh yeah. The legal business name is Omega Phi Alpha space dash space. For you, you would put alpha theta. Okay, and then click update requirement at the bottom. Okay, so let's talk about something real quick. A lot of questions. No, you don't use the 1% of revenue. Okay, before you click off of this, Emily, if you can click the home button or click home up here to show everyone something. Okay, so we get a lot of questions about how do I know if I'm paying local dues or national dues? So Emily, if you could scroll down. It says right here, chapter dues and fees. So this is chapter dues. Okay, then if you click pay online, it'll pull up in this other screen and it says my chapter dues and fees. It doesn't look like this at all when you're paying national dues and it says you're paying Omega Phi Alpha National Service Sorority. So that's how you can tell your people, that's how they know if they're paying local dues or national dues. Thank you so much, Emily, for sharing your screen to set that up. Perfect. You guys are welcome to go back to the main room if you're already completely set up. I think they're having some conversation in the main room. So if you have your Stripe account set up and connected, feel free to exit the breakout room and head back to the main room and see if there's anything there of interest to you. And then you are welcome to head out from that. If you had a call scheduled with me, I will cancel your call to set up your Stripe if you got it all situated. Okay, Alpha EIN is 81511725. You're welcome. Okay, who's having trouble or needs more information to get it set up?
Hi,
I don't.
sorry, you can go first.
Selena, yeah, Selena, I just asked Jenna if she knew it was October 2022 that you guys opened a bank account. Okay, I can send you the bank information. Is that what you need?
Yes.
Okay, I'll send it to you
And
in just
then
a second.
I have a question. So that meeting or the appointment that we like needed to go schedule with you, that was just to do this, so we don't need to do that anymore. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It was just to do this. Oh, I don't have banking information for you, so you'll have to wait. You should be able to like just save your progress so far, and then you can come back to Stripe when you have banking information. I don't have it. Sorry.
So
Elena. Oh, Hazel. Yeah, go ahead.
I use my number for verification code to my Stripe. How do I change number? Can I change it right now?
I think that you can change it. Let me log in and see. Let me log into our Stripe and see if I see how you can change it. I think you just go to profile, like when you're signed in. I'm getting logged in. Oh. Sorry, I have a few Stripe accounts, so I'm trying to log into the right one. Okay. Yeah, I think you can just go to your profile and update it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Other questions?
I think I've got it set up right. So we go there and we turn it on and we change the checkout page from WePay to Stripe, right? That's what we're supposed to do.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I did that. Is there anything else we need to do?
No, well, just set up your dues. Make sure you have your dues ready to collect, and they'll go to Stripe.
Okay, how do I do that?
You share your screen with me, and I can walk you through it.
Sure.
Rupali, I don't have banking information for Alphamu. I'm sorry. I wish I did. Well, let me double check that.
Okay, so this is where I'm at now.
Okay, so you have it set up. Yep, that's right. Okay, so then go to manage and go to the officer dashboard. And then scroll down to finances.
Sorry, I've got like the meeting covering up some of the stuff, so I'm trying to see everything.
Oh. Okay. Oh, it looks like it's already done. That your dues, you have your dues due on February 1st. If you click the gear icon, we can see what it's set up as.
I just want to make sure it's going to Stripe.
Yeah, I think you changed that on the checkout page. Yeah, so it should be going to Stripe. It all looks good.
Thank you.
I don't have any Alphamu baking information. Cassandra 767694. Yeah, Elena, you can feel free to go back to the main room, see what they're chatting about in there. Thank you. Selena,
So,
same for you. We'll have to circle back.
Okay, so I went off of it and it's saying set general ledger expense account. Do I do any of that?
Yeah, just you can skip it.
Well, I'm trying to skip it and it's not letting me skip for some reason. It just keeps going back to that same page. So do I just like click off or?
Yeah, I mean, or you can
Okay.
save it. You can just save whatever it's saying to do as well.
It's also not letting me
doesn't-
save.
Oh,
Is there an account code or account name I'm supposed to use?
I would just put dues. If it lets you like type something else, then type dues.
Okay, dues and account code. Like right now it says PF. Like I don't know what that is.
Oh, processing fees. You can just put fees.
Oh, okay. Fees. Save. Oh, okay. That worked. And then there was something that y'all did like after, but I was still on the like the banking
Yeah,
information.
I don't think you'll be able to set it up until your Stripe is fully set up.
Okay. I think we're meeting like this Friday we're getting
Okay.
together and we're going to this Friday. So
Okay,
once
so
I
you
get
can
the
message me. Yeah, you can message me on Slack or send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat. Although you should have it because I just emailed you all, but
okay.
Emily, did you figure it out based on that information? Were you able to get through the pages?
Yes, ma'am. I got it.
Okay, great. Cassandra, what's going on?
Okay, I'm now, well, I don't know how to flip it around. Okay, but I'm now on the Stripe balance. Back on
can't see
OTA
that.
portal.
Oh, yeah. Can you skip or save?
It gives me both options, so I didn't know which one to click.
If you can skip it, then skip it. But if it
Along
doesn't
with
let you
the
skip it,
processing fees.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Elizabeth, setting up dues. So you're gonna go to your officer dashboard. You can share your screen if it's easier, but go to the officer dashboard and then scroll down to finances and then click configure dues. If there are dues already configured, just click the gear icon
Okay.
to make sure they're correct.
Yeah, so the dues are already configured. It's just like they haven't reset from last time.
Oh, I think because you have to update the due date to be a 2024 due date.
Yeah, I did that and it still says they're paid in full.
Okay, email support@greektrack.com. I just put this because I don't know.
Okay.
I am
Okay.
usually if you change the due date, but I'm not sure. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else? Sarah?
The
Oh, Cassandra.
Hey,
the
oh,
processing fees, sorry.
no, you're good.
It's telling me that the GL account code is already taken.
Did you press skip or no?
It won't let me skip that one.
Okay.
The same thing's happening to me too.
Oh boy, you guys. I know why this is happening. It's so annoying, but I'm still annoyed by it. Okay, so just put like fees 1, fees 2. Like one of you pick one. Cassandra, your fees 1. Sarah, fees 2.
Okay.
It's telling me the same thing.
What if you put fees 3? Or fees 4?
Should I put that under the account code or the account name?
Code. I think it's asking for a code change. Keep going. Oh, you have to edit your checkout page, Emily. Once you get all those screens cleared, you have to click edit checkout page. And then uncheck WePay if you have that. So click to uncheck and then check Stripe. And then make sure all of your payments are going to Stripe. So dues and fees, donations, all of those things are all going to Stripe. And then save the checkout page. And then if you have other checkout pages, click edit page and delete them. So we just have the one Stripe with everything going to Stripe. Olivia, any issues for you?
I honestly don't know because my computer, I think, like overheated halfway through, like
Oh, okay.
you were
Oh
explaining.
no.
Yeah.
Well, this is being recorded, so I'll upload the recording later this week so you can like skip to this part. Or you can schedule a meeting with me. I don't think you already have. Oh, you do have one, Thursday, January 18th. Perfect. We'll just meet then and we can make sure
For
it's all
for the attached to OPA portal systems, do we check all the boxes?
What are the
It
names
has
of the
like
systems? Like dues and fees.
dues and fees, fundraising
check all
funds and campaign, retreat,
Check all the boxes.
T-shirt composites, and then donations.
Yeah, check all the boxes. Okay, Emily, are you good? Did you get it set up?
Not yet. It's when I go to the checkout page, it's not showing where I can like unclick WePay and click on Stripe. Like it's just
Can you share
WePay.
your screen?
Mm-hmm. You see?
Yep. Oh, scroll up. Oh. Okay, go back to the officer dashboard. And then scroll back down to finances and configure, payment processor settings. Okay, scroll down. Can you click edit page to that page again? Click edit page.
Yeah.
Scroll down. Oh, geez. Okay. Go back to the page just before this. Okay, click the plus arrow next to Stripe or plus button. I wonder if it just didn't actually connect to your Stripe.
I don't think
See
it
if you,
connected.
yeah, just type your email, and then I think it will recognize you. Okay, I'll give you the code. Let me add all of you to this channel too. It's 394755. Perfect. Yeah, it just didn't connect. That was kind of weird. But it looks like thinking.
Maybe that's why.
Oh, stop sharing your screen before you type that in, so we don't see that. Cassandra, are you all good? Did you get it situated?
Yes, only because we weren't able to set up our WePay, so it still shows that it's connected, but our WePay was never connected because of it was the
But you unchecked WePay and checked Stripe, right?
yes, it's just step one connect payment processors shows both WePay and Stripe.
Yeah, I think it will show WePay for a bit until they finalize the transition of WePay. But as long as Stripe is what is connected, then you're good.
Okay. And then
Perfect.
is there anything else I gotta do?
Nope. You can go back to the main room for the last few minutes if you want to see what they're chit-chatting about.
Okay.
But
Thank
no,
you.
nothing else. Thank you. Sarah, did you get it all set up? Are you good?
Yes, I'm on the checkout page and I unclicked WePay for everything and clicked on Stripe.
Yep, and then just make sure dues and fees is like checked as well. Everything in the boxes below are
Yes,
checked.
I did that.
Yep, and then save it and you're all set.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Emily, we there or no?
Did the exact same thing again.
Okay, we have a meeting tomorrow at 2:15. Okay, I'm gonna see if Greek Track is able to join us tomorrow, or at the very least, we can just record it and send to Greek Track what's going on. So let's keep our meeting for tomorrow and I will touch base with you then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, Olivia, what do you need? Is there something I can help you with or?
So I'm pretty
we
sure I
keep-
set up like the Stripe and I'm at like the checkout page and there's like 3 WePays, but then like there's no Stripe.
Okay. Can you share your screen?
Yeah. So there's
Okay.
like
Okay. Okay, so let's go to the first one. Let's go to that one and click edit page. Okay, now we're gonna choose Stripe, click the boxes for Stripe. And then click dues and fees. Okay, and click update checkout page. Okay, now let's scroll down. Let's click that one, edit page. Let's scroll down and click delete page. Okay, let's do that one to that too. We made it. All right. You're good. You just need to set up dues. You'll just need to set up your dues. But otherwise,
yeah.
you're good.
We haven't
All right.
discussed it. So okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Alignment with where they are at right now. Oh, we're being recorded.
Yeah, we're just